to your life. Let's go back to Chicago. You said something very interesting was you needed guards that were going to play better defense. Today, do you think you got that? And talk about intent and purpose of your team.
Yeah, I think, you have to have two-way players. And maybe one end is more of your strong suit. But, you still got to be able to do fundamental things on the defensive end. You got to be in the right place. If you start wrong, you normally finish wrong. And you got to be in the right place at the right time, and you got to be able to anticipate. And the more you play in games and the more experience you have, your knowledge should just continue to grow. And when you have setbacks where you don't do what you're supposed to, or you don't have that sense of urgency, it shows. Like, you just can't outscore everybody. And I think it's such an important, thing for players to understand, is that it's no different than a coach. So, like, we've won the Big Ten before, we've went to an Elite Eight, and well, that's your bar. That's your bar as a coach. When you don't win the league and you don't go past the Elite Eight, then that's where you should go. You should do better. So you're constantly, as a coach, trying to do better. Well, the same thing holds for a player. Like, I've seen some of our guys play at an elite level. Like Fletcher Lawyer's play in the Tennessee game, his greatest plays had nothing to do with his 27 points. His diving on the floor and getting a timeout, his physical box outs to get those possessions that either got his free throws or just got a foul on them, depending on where the bonus. Like, those are huge plays. Like, those are big time elite plays, and those are the type of things that we need from our players always, because you can always give that. Sometimes your shot doesn't go and things don't work out, but we can take care of the basketball better than we did, and we can be tougher than we did, but we definitely can guard better. But I thought the two times we struggled the most this year was when we had a lead against Marquette, when we had a lead against Northwestern at halftime. I thought the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of the second half of both of those games, we were poor defensively, and and you used a good word there in one of your questions, was we just didn't have a purpose. And I thought tonight we had more of a purpose when we had that lead, because we've gotten that lead against them before, and then they make it a game real quick, the way they can score the basketball. So it helps when you're getting, pretty good shots, right? So we were getting pretty good shots. So if you're constantly scoring the ball, you're constantly setting your defense. If you're turning the ball over and taking bad shots, now you're playing from behind, and now you're allowing a team that's so good in transition and so good at shooting it, to have some advantages. So I was proud of our guys the way we played the start of the second half. Obviously, we played well in the first half. We put ourselves in a good position, but that's what we need. You want to see that improvement.
That kind of segued into my question, is that you have been in this position against them before. When they get the game sped up, when they're playing from behind, like you talked about yesterday, sometimes there have been turnovers, sometimes there's been a run they've been able to make, and it seemed like you scored on their pressure more than their pressure even remotely affected you. How come this team is so well equipped to handle all that stuff they throw at you in the backcourt?
I just thought we were aggressive. We've always tried to get the basketball and push the basketball against their press and be aggressive with it. I think Lance really helps with that. But we've always tried to encourage skip passes and move the ball. There's your goal. Your goal's that way. Like, I don't know why you're going the other direction. And I thought tonight they just, when we got the ball out of our hands and had some space, our guys really advanced it with the pass and the dribble. And our guys did a good job of being receivers and flashing and moving the ball. And when you do that and Zach's back there anchored, you're going to be able to get a quick post up or a quick drive or a wide open three, because they're not going to come out of the hole a lot.
So, with that, just what your guards can do, you guys looked, kind of systemic, honestly, tonight against their press that they brought out. You seemed one step ahead. Have you guys changed the way you respond to that this year? And have you practiced it a lot? Because, it just looks a little different.
Right. No, it was the same thing. It wasn't what we were doing, it's how we were doing it. So we've always tried. Klein was really good, and Carson Edwards was really good at those diagonal passes against the press. And we've really tried to emphasize that the past 2 or 3 years, and we just didn't have guys that were really that confident. I think Lance helps because he gives another ball handler right there. Fletcher's a good passer. Obviously, Braden did a fabulous job tonight. But really, it's the same thing that we've always done against it. We've done a couple different things to try to maybe screen on it a couple times to kind of jar them loose. But our guys just handled it better. We're more aggressive.
And then, at the end, Braden and Zach obviously got to leave early. You got to bring some different lineups on the floor. Do you take more from that against a team like Iowa than you maybe did against some earlier non-conference opponents?
Well, you're just trying to, like Lance Jones didn't play as much in the first half because he had 2 fouls. And so him getting more minutes in the second half, playing the point, because he's going to play some point for us, even though he doesn't play a lot because Braden stays in a lot. It's still good if, Braden gets into foul trouble or something happens and he has to play. So I thought that was good. But though the rest of the guys, we have a lot of starters that don't start. And so like anytime you can reward those guys, because there's going to be games that they get starters minutes, and there's games that they're not. So like it was just good for those guys to get out there, and we got a lot of respect for Iowa. We got a lot of respect for Fran in what they do. They do things the right way. They work hard. They're very unique. They're very unique. They blitzed us before, and like they get you with the press. They'll get you with an onslaught of threes, and so like you got to be hooked up and ready. Obviously, we have an X factor, and we have someone that you can't practice against every day. You just can't. And so like, and if you can't handle that, then like you're going to get some open shots. If you can't handle that and play one-on-one and get it, it's definitely going to help some things. But he's going to get a lot of attempts. So.
Matt, we saw the response on the court to a loss just a couple days ago. Short turnaround, could have been an emotional loss. What did you see from your team over this weekend about the way just they responded to it?
I think success will mess with you. And, you can fool yourself into understanding how you're going to win a game sometimes. And I always put it towards, can you beat a really good team on the road when you don't shoot well? And like for us, like it's plagued us, but it's plagued. So when people say like, oh, they just lose the same way, it's really stupid. And you don't understand basketball if you say that. Like it's really stupid. Because it's just coming from such an untrained eye. Because the other team is trying to turn you over. Like everybody has an issue with turnovers. Every team has an issue with turnovers in some game this year. So when you play 8 games and like you have a couple games, like whatever, like your 80%, your 75%, whatever it might be, is you've taken care of the basketball. But you're going to have a game in there where you don't. You just don't want it to be when it matters the most. And so for us, like it's the execution of things. It's understanding that like, hey, we got to execute, we got to get quality shots, but then you got to defend and be grimy at times. And I just thought, Northwestern made more plays than us. Northwestern was a little tougher than us. But if we just get shots up, even bad shots at times, we're going to generate offense because our ability to rebound or his ability to take 2 to 3 people with him, and that opens up gaps for other people.
Hey, Matt, kind of expand on Fran a little bit there about as he gets close to the all-time wins record and kind of his program that he's built and kind of what you've kind of seen at that.
Well, that's a big deal because, we all have a great deal of respect for Dr. Tom, and what he did there. So like when I'm watching in high school and getting into college and then, Dr. Tom took over at Drake when I was the head coach at Southern Illinois. So we all know the success that they had within there. So for the fact that now, like, Fran's in this position to have more wins than him just kind of speaks. Franny's done an unbelievable job there, and he's done it his way too. And you definitely have to change and get some things figured out when you play them, or they're going to have you on their heels really quick. And we were fortunate tonight to get out to a lead and just kind of sustain that lead. But no, he's been great for the Big Ten. He does things the right ways. I have a lot of respect for anybody who does things the right ways. Too many people out there getting glorified, and not doing it. And you shouldn't get he shouldn't get a reward for doing it the right way. It's what you're supposed to do, right? And then but he's done a fabulous job there, and hats off to him.
Matt, obviously in conference play, the level of scouting, the institutional knowledge of every team goes way up compared to non-conference games. With your younger guys like Miles, like Cam, even Lance being a new guy, even though he's a veteran player, new role, different set of players around him, how do you address that uptick in scouting that they're going to see where everybody's going to know what they do?
Yeah, you talk about it, you watch film, you watch individual film. Some people are visual learners, some people have to go through it, some people can walk through and they have it, but I like more breakdown stuff with them. So you teach the part over the whole, because you can do it and get more reps. Like if we ran a possession and they had a multiple of things that you had to guard in the possession, like you run it 3 or 4 times, you get that 2, and so now you just take it into a breakdown where it's 2 or 3 people, then you just do it over and over and over for about an 8 to 10 minute span, and now they do it about 15 to 20 times, and they defend it. And then you kind of show them the shortcomings of things, because there's always, going to be things that leak out of things. It's the game of basketball. Okay, they're going to go to this wide pin, and when they go to this wide pin, we guard it this way. Here's all the things that can happen. Well, when you deal with people with experience, they just understand that. They understand that that can go a different direction, and there could be some things that happen differently with that. Young people don't. They just, okay, this is going to happen. It's going to happen exactly this way, and you can't go through everything every single time because you just don't have that much time. But you got to talk them through it. You got to get them there. You got to make sure that you just keep learning and you keep getting better with it. Because I always say, if you don't play hard, you can do everything right, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're not playing hard, right? But if you do what you're supposed to and you play hard within that, that's when you'll really take off. The thing about doing what you're supposed to, a lot of people, they'll argue schematically about what you're doing, but it doesn't matter. When deep down, if you feel that's the right thing, it matters that they believe in you, and when they believe in you, they stay connected. And when you do what you're supposed to and I do what I'm supposed to, we're not tricking each other. It happens a lot in basketball. You're like, well, that's no big deal. He just did that. Well, if he was supposed to go under and he stayed tight, now the other guy's like, man, like what's going on here? It's not huge, but it disconnects them for a second or a half second, and that's all they can really get there. So making them understand that and learn the importance of that. And then it's difficult for Miles, difficult for Cam, because they're on a good team. Like sometimes people come in like, I don't want guys that are like totally worried about playing time. I want guys that are worried about winning. We're winning together. And maybe you're not getting quite what you want, but just keep coming, because once you get an opportunity or more of an opportunity, it's like Ethan Morton. Ethan Morton got more of an opportunity tonight. He did some good things for us. He played well. And so he didn't make some shots, but who cares? Like Braden Smith made 1 shot tonight and he played great. He was fabulous. That's winning basketball. So that's what we try to get them to understand, is like, know what's going on, understand what's going on, play hard, keep a good attitude. And those guys have been great. Ethan's been great, Miles, Cam, they've been great. And but it's going to be different guys each night unless some guys separate themselves and put themselves in a better position.
I don't know what your percentage was on missed 3-pointers that you got the offensive rebounds off of, but that was a pretty pivotal part of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially in the first half there.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about in our last game. It was just like, hey, like, if we just cut out 5 of those turnovers and we get up a terrible shot, like, aren't we going to get 2 or 3 of those rebounds? Like, aren't we going to get fouled? Like, the answer would be yes. So, like, I thought tonight that we got quality shots, and then when we missed them, I thought we had a great chance to get rebounds. I love the effort, Zach's effort, and Caleb and Trey and Mason. Those guys, they're doing a great job, and they're really laying on the line.
Mike and then Sam.
How meaningful and emotional do you think it'll be for Zach Saturday for that chance to get back and play?
Yeah, well, he didn't play much basketball in Toronto. Think about it. That's his spot, man. That's his hometown. It's a little unique, right? It's a little unique, but like, no, that's his. He's a proud Canadian, and he loves Toronto, and we got to play well for him. We got to coach well for him. Like, that's a big deal, like, right? Like, you get to go back and play in front of all your friends and your family, and because when he left there and went to IMG, like no one saw that in the crystal ball. Nobody saw that, but good for him, man. He's a hard-working dude. He works hard, man. He puts in his time and plays winning basketball, and he's selfless. He's fun to coach.
Matt, you talk about taking good shots. I thought everybody falls in love with 3-pointers. I thought there were some times tonight with Lance, with Miles, where you passed up a good shot and got a better shot.
Yes.
Those guys pump faking, go to the basket, something like that. Is that maybe a sign of growth where, a lot of people want to shoot threes, but those guys realize there's a better opportunity to pump fake my man and go?
Yeah, you want guys to be confident, but you also have to understand a pecking order. Your tough 3 versus his post up or somebody else's open shot, like. But you want, Miles Colvin's a shot maker, and that's what's tough for me because, he didn't get much of an opportunity against Northwestern, and we had guys struggling defensively and not making shots. And like, he could have been a difference there. When you have a good team, you get 7 or 8 guys and you feel good about it. Like, okay, cool. Like, you don't really go back and second guess yourself much personnel wise because you got 7 to 8 guys. But when you got as many guys as we do, when something doesn't work, like you always go back and look at that. And that's always an opportunity for somebody to get, in there and get some more minutes. But no, I thought Lance took 2 or 3 shots in the Northwestern game he absolutely shouldn't take. And I think when he takes open shots, he's going to, and takes good shots. I thought his pull-up tonight was good. I thought a couple of drives were great. The threes that he had were great. And that's what he's got to understand. Like, if that's 15 shots, cool. But if that's 5, that's cool too. Like just keep making the right decision and make the right play. And that's what makes for an efficient offense.
One thing Ethan said when he was in here was, we're a year older now. It's more than that. I mean,
Right.
they're a year older, but it seems like just a cohesive unit and guys that have played a lot of basketball together. And I don't know if you get a team that's this veteran that's played that many minutes together, how rare is this combination, this makeup, where you can kind of get it all working right at the right time?
Yeah, well, that's what we tried. We tried to, get him here and be on him and coach him, but also treat him the right way. And I think we have a good balance. I think we have a good balance of understanding the substance of people, not just the players we're taking, but the people around them. And a lot of times you got to have some people that can work with you, and whether someone's late for class or someone's maybe not doing what they're supposed to on the court, to where you want what's best for them. And I think we've done a great job of that. And so our culture is something that we continue to work on, but it's your product. I don't care if you're running an organization or a business or a basketball program, your product is your people. And I think we got great people in and around our program, and we have great players, and they want to get an education at Purdue, but they also, they want to win, and they're going to have to sacrifice to win. And I think all those guys show that. Like Mason Gillis tonight, I thought he was fabulous. I think he was great. I know I only played him 13 minutes, but just trying to be appreciative of the guys, Caleb First, Trey Kaufman-Wren, all the guys on our team that really, really sacrifice because they don't get the 25 to 30 minutes in a game.
That's well, Brian.
Just real quick,
And I have talked, so how do you guys still have questions?
just have a very quick one.
Jesus.
Is Mason okay?
Yeah, he's okay. I look like his back was bothering him a little bit. That's why I kind of, but he has one of those demolition derbies with his own teammate almost every game. So you guys are just asking questions to ask him.
We'll see you again.
Have a good night.
Thanks.